Alaikum. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Quran reading, read in Arabic but discussed in English. My name's Ahmed.
And my name is Safa.
And your name?
And my name is Ketchup.
Ketchup Mo. He's Ketchup Mo on Twitch. I might drop a link to his profile. I probably will. Remind me tomorrow to drop well, I have to do this because I posted. Anyway, we're three people here to read the Quran in Arabic and discuss it. If you've missed episode 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, then check out my YouTube channel. They'll all be numbered. We're now doing from 2158 until 2188. So, without further ado, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, and off we go.
إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم.
Okay, we're introducing a new concept today, but let's take it step by step. First, إن الصفا والمروة. Of course, we have the Safa with us right here, which is very nice and very cool. But what does al-Safa and al-Marwa mean?
They are two mountains in Mecca. So it's part of the pilgrimage. When people go for pilgrimage or Umrah, they walk between or run between the two mountains, Safa and Marwa. And the origin of that is that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, had a wife, Hajar, and their son Ismail, who we talked about a little bit in the last
previous,
session. So he left them there, and then there was no water for Ismail. So Hagar was walking between the Safa and Marwa to find water for Ismail, and then God gave them water. But this is the origin of how this became part of the pilgrimage. And here it says that
so part of the pilgrimage, just to explain, the pilgrimage or al-Hajj, that is one of the requirements of Islam, requirement or something that brings you closer to God, and it's expected that once during your life you make this pilgrimage to Mecca and you go between these two mountains and you go around Al-Kaaba. We'll explain it more as it comes in more detail, but essentially it's one of the pillars of Islam, as they say.
Yeah.
So, okay, in the Safa wal Marwa, from the hills of Safa and Marwa, min sha'air, from Allah. So the hills of Safa and Marwa are from the symbols of God.
I think Sha'air Allah is like more of like what we do, part of worshipping God. Like the pilgrimage is from Sha'air Allah. You know what I mean? It's not symbols.
Okay, so like the first word that comes to mind when we say sha'air is shi'r for me, which is like poetry, kind of in a sense. But I guess sha'air is the way that I understand it. Like symbols make sense to me. Like they're kind of, it's like a monument. It's like a proclamation. It's like I don't know.
It can be like the worshipping, worshipping symbols.
Okay, so the worshipping symbols.
Yeah, part of the things that we do to worship God.
Okay, so kind of like towers is a weird way of saying it, but kind of like light beacons, kind of like symbols that kind of are pronounced and they're symbols of God, so to speak. Think lighthouse, think tower, think pilgrimage, things that you go to, things that show the thing that you're looking for. And here the things Safa and Marwa are from the symbols of God. So whoever performs Hajj, the pilgrimage that Safa was mentioning earlier, Hajj al-Bayt, which we have heard previously in the previous sessions, that this is reference to Al-Kaaba, which is in Mecca, or performs Umrah, which is kind of like a lesser pilgrimage. Like there's a specific small pilgrimage. The big pilgrimage, Al-Hajj, is at a specific time of the year. during a specific month in the Islamic calendar, whereas Umrah can be performed throughout the whole year, I believe.
Yeah.
فَلَا جَنَاحٍ, no blame is put on them, that he walks between the both of them, and whoever voluntary does good, then indeed God is appreciative or thankful, and God is all-knowing. And I think this kind of ties back. I mean, this was a part of our discussions that we had with Mohab at the end of the session, the end of the call. We didn't record it, but we had the discussion. And I think for me, all of the things that God asks you to do, he's telling you that God will be thankful and God will reward you. That all these things that you do for God are in a way for you, because they bring you closer to God and they bring you closer to spirituality, and God will remember and know and be thankful. So if you're doing them, you're gaining the benefit because God is grateful to you, which is an interesting concept for me.
Yeah.
إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزلنا من البينات والهدى من بعد ما بيناه للناس في الكتاب أولئك يلعنهم الله ويلعنهم اللاعنون.
Spicy. Okay. Now, you tell me who this means, but it says, indeed, those who conceal what we've revealed of clear proofs and guidance from after we have made it clear to the people through or in the book, they are the ones that God curses them, and curses them, the ones who are cursed.
The ones who curse.
All those who condemn, the ones who curse. Okay, yeah. So now, okay, the key words again here for me is that it says the book, even though the Quran mentions multiple books. The Quran mentions the Quran itself, the Injil, the Bible, and the Torah, which is for the Jewish faith. Here it's saying anyone that's been brought the book and is denying what's inside it is the problem. And we've obviously seen the specific mention of Judaism in this, but there is also kind of the understanding of Christianity, and there's also the understanding of Islam. Because there's a lot of clear proofs in Islam, and there's a lot of distortion of Islam, and a lot of people that claim and speak for the book, such as somebody on my YouTube channel comments saying that the book says that me and Safa can't be doing this together, and that God has specifically forbade it. But they don't bring Quranic evidence, they bring people's speaking about it and saying this person said that, therefore it is against God's will. And that for me is the same as concealing, because you're concealing what is clearly in the book, and if not, it's not just concealing, but it's also like writing something else instead of what the book is saying.
There is another verse that also speaks about those who claim things about God, who claim that God says things that he didn't say. It's mentioned several times in the Quran. And there is a verse that specifically mentions that there are some verses in the Quran that are very straightforward, very clear, and there are some that have open meanings, and that God intended it to be this way, and intended for people, he only knows the real meaning of it. So the problem that happens is that some people also take the verses that do not have a very clear meaning, and then they give it a meaning that they
believe to be clear.
And then they spread it around. Which is, of course, not a good thing to do.
But essentially, this is a clear message. Everyone that hides what the book is sharing, and here it means any of the holy books brought down by God, as to my understanding, those are the ones that God will curse them, and the people who curse will curse them. Like, very simple. Conceal, you are the problem.
إلا الذين تابوا وأصلحوا وبينوا فأولئك أتوب عليهم وأنا التواب الرحيم.
This is a bit interesting.
Okay,
let's start with the basic explanation. Continuing of those who will be damned, except all of them will be damned, except those that repent and reform and do good, and openly. So they reformed and they openly did reformed. And let the truth be known.
I think it means that referring to the previous verse that it said that those who conceal the actual meaning,
Reveal
here
the meaning.
bayano is like
The
then
opposite.
they reveal it afterwards.
Yeah. So those are the ones that I accept repentance for them, and I am the acceptor of repentance and most merciful. And this has been interesting.
Yes.
Because it's the first time we see God refer to themselves as I.
Yeah. It's usually we.
Yeah. Which is kind of, I don't know exactly the significance of it, but...
I don't know either. We have to, look it up. But
no worries.
Yeah, I agree.
Very interesting. It's just,
yes.
Yeah, it's just
written in a different way.
A change of prose, a change of verse, prose. Yeah.
إن الذين كفروا وماتوا وهم كفار أولئك عليهم لعنة الله والملائكة والناس أجمعين.
Okay, and indeed, those who disbelieved and died as they were while they were disbelievers, those are the ones on them the curse of God and his angels and mankind all together. Very clear. If you disbelieve and die a disbeliever, you're doomed for eternity. Yes.
Sorry, so this disbelief in this sense here, would it be referring to disbelief in Allah, in God Himself, or disbelief that there is a higher being, or something out there that is a God figure?
So there's contextual within the phrase of the ayat. So if you follow the stories, the 1, 2, 3, this would mean those that are disbelieving what has been said most recently, but it can also be applied in a general sense. The term kafaru is expressed many different ways and is given many different examples. I believe there's two ways to understand it. You can see it as the ones who disbelieved, as in reference to every time this word shows up, they are disbelieving. Or you can look at it in the context of what we're saying, is essentially God is telling you don't conceal and share, and if you don't do that, then you are the disbelievers in this case.
Yeah, I agree.
Does that make sense, Mo?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, clear. If you disbelieve and die a disbeliever, then everybody's cursed on you. Curse on you. What was it? The Moulin Rouge? I curse on you and a curse on your cow. Sorry. Maybe a little bit of Disney while we're reading Quran isn't the best idea.
خالدين فيها لا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينظرون.
Okay, continuation of those who are damned for eternity. Khalidin is to be Khalid is to be immortal. So abiding forever. Khalidin is just talking about the foreverness of it. Abiding forever in hell. And there will not be lightened for them their torment, as we said. Mm-hmm. and they will not be reprieved. Yundarun. This is here it says delayed from it.
Like they will not be given time.
Yeah, see here they're saying they look, which is not quite right.
It's not ينظرون. ينظرون means like they will not be given time until it happens, or like.
Okay. So they're immediately there, and they're there for forever.
Yeah, it's like if I ask you, okay, just give me some time before.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is also related to Muhab's question. If it's like for any god, or you believe in just a higher being, I think that throughout the Quran, the message is clear, is that there is one God.
Yeah.
And there is no other God.
Yeah.
So, yeah, previously and until now, I think there are different gods, but the message from the Quran is that there is only one God, and this is the God who sent the messengers, and this is the God who sent
but this
the
message.
messages.
But this is not a message from Quran. This is a message from Moses. Moses said there's only one God, and the Jews believe there's
I
only
think
one
that
God.
he was the first one to come with this message.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also said that the previous prophets did come with that message.
Yeah.
But Moses was the first one to have scripture that
To have
contained it.
to have a book.
Yeah. What were you saying, Wahab?
No, I'm saying like so in this case it was Moses who said your God is only one God, but like
Well, the scripture of Moses, but yeah.
yeah, but it's like technically this Quran is God telling Muhammad what happened and what it is. So God is only one God and there's no other God. So
Yeah.
this, even though it's the scripture of Moses, it's taken to be believed that there's only one God.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
yeah. And here it's just reconfirming your God is only one God, and there's no God but him, and he is the most gracious, the most merciful, as we understood from the very first words written in this book.
Yeah.
nice.
إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون.
Phew, this is a long one.
Yeah.
Okay, bit by bit. Let's start from the very beginning. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens or the skies and the earth,
And the difference between night and
the
day.
difference between night and day, and the ships that sail in the sea, with what benefits people, and what was sent down from God from the sky. So here, samawat is written the heavens, and sama is the sky. So it's kind of, they're similar words. What was sent from the sky from water, giving life to the earth after its death, and dispersing in it of every moving creature, and directing the wind and the clouds, controlled between the sky and the earth, surely are signs for people that are using their intellect. Okay. So what is God saying in this expression, in this ayah?
So I think it's just like all the signs that people should think about, like when you think, why are we here? Or what is this world? I think it just lists all the things that you can look at and wonder, like, where did it all come from? You know, that there is a sky, there are skies, there is this earth, there is night, there is day, there is the sun, there are seas, there is rain coming from the sky, and only with the rain
comes life out of death.
Comes life out of the land.
Yeah.
And then all the creatures are able to live because of this whole process.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like and at the end of the verses, like these are all the signs for people who think. لقوم يعقلون is like for people who think.
Yeah, who use their intellect.
Who use their intellect. So yeah, if you think about it, how
all
did
this
it
wonderful
all
world.
How did it all come to be? I think everyone asks themselves at some point in their lives, like, how did this all happen?
Many people don't care. Many people do not use their intellect. They do not think about it.
I don't think so.
Many people think of the question, where do we all come from? I can't find out. I'm not going to think about it. That's it. It's as simple
this
as
is
that.
for me very strange because since I was very, very little, I was like, wow, what is this?
For me, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who's like, it's very obvious in my life, there is not going to be proof of where we came from. that's not how life is designed. Because if life was designed that way, everyone would believe it.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm never going to see evidence that God created the earth, and I know that I'm never going to see evidence of God beyond intellect.
Yeah.
So I don't like thinking about anything that I'm not gonna like. Are aliens going to visit Earth? I don't care. If aliens visit Earth, I would happily talk to them and happily engage. Do aliens exist is a pointless question for me, because I don't care. Unless they come, I don't care if they exist. Like that's no apparent benefit to my life. And the aliens thing is kind of an interesting concept, because when I started my channel, I started looking around. A lot of people believe in aliens. And why do they believe in aliens? They're like, well, there's so many planets and there's so many solar systems, there must be aliens. I'm like, how do you have, like, you can't even see the other planets and aliens. You just know that they exist because of the research, but you can see the rain, the earth, the sky, the death, the life. You understand that there's something miraculous about it.
Yes.
And all this evidence, and you go, I don't believe in God, but I believe in aliens. Like, for me, that's believing in aliens is more insane than believing in God, because then you're basing it off of knowledge of the skies, whereas the apparent life that exists around us is, you can touch it. You can feel it. It's mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing that people believe in aliens but don't believe in God. But hey, to each their own. But to answer your question, people don't think about these questions. They don't care. But essentially here it's saying, if you think about it and if you look at the wonders of the world, the miracle of life, because what's the difference between a beating heart and a live person and a dead person? You can be in a coma for years and there's just no life in you. Your heart's beating, but there's just no life. Like, there's something miraculous about the spirit of life. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it. You can, if you call it the universe, like even witches, they believe in the universe and the magic of the universe. Fine, call it the universe. Like, you can, there's magic. It's called life. I don't know what it is or what's the source is, but if you think about it, it won't make sense.
Yeah, I think to be fair, everyone should at least admit that there has to be something beyond this, or there can be something beyond this. Saying like for example, being an atheist and saying there is no God, there is nothing, is simply
being an atheist is,
for me it doesn't make sense, because how do you know? Like you can never know.
You can't be sure that God doesn't exist, but you can tell me I don't know that God exists, and I'm fine with a lot of people. A lot of people don't know, and I don't think it's enough evidence. So anyway, it's saying that it's evidence for those who actually take a look and believe. But
من الناس من يتخذ من دون الله أندادا يحبونهم كحب الله والذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله ولو يرى الذين ظلموا إذ يرون العذاب أن القوة لله جميعا وأن الله شديد العذاب.
Okay.
This is for me very interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit spicy. Let's break it down bit by bit. Women, and among the people, among mankind, there are those who take besides of Allah equals. They love them as they love, or as they should love God. Then those are the ones.
And those who believed,
and those who believed, in a stronger love than God.
Love God more. So some people take equals to God and love them love them as the same way that
stronger than their love for God.
Love them like as in God's love.
Okay.
But those who believe love God more. أشد حبا لله الذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله بيحبوا
okay,
الله.
So the ones that believe, they're the ones who have a stronger love for God. And
have stronger love for God than these other people have for their equals.
And if they would see those who wronged, that when they see the torment and the power of God altogether, because indeed God is severe in punishment or torment. What is?
ولو يرى الذين ظلموا إذ يرون العذاب. So and those who did wrong, if they see the torment,
if they see,
they would know that القوة لله جميعا, that all the power is to Allah.
the power is to God at all, and that God is indeed severe of torment.
Yeah.
So what is he saying? I mean, the first part's quite clear. If you take someone equal to God, this is a problem. Obviously, this is kind of like hinting towards Christianity, because they believe that...
No, not only.
Not only Christianity.
I don't think so. I think this is for everyone. Even
sure.
Muslims, even it happens that, because it doesn't mention specifically another God.
Yeah.
It doesn't say those who take another God besides Allah as a God, but they...
Or another person.
But
it could
just
be anything other than God.
Anything other than God that you take equal to God. So, and honestly, I see it with people with their leaders or with their managers or their bosses. To some extent, sometimes it's like complete obedience in a way that's like
or to their lovers, or
to their lovers,
or to money, or to sex, or to drugs, or to anything,
exactly. So I think that's what it means.
And here it ends it with saying, and if they were to see if the ones who were wronged were to see the torment, then they will realize the power of God above all, and that God is indeed severe of torment. Which it's back to the you're gonna screw yourself over, which I'm also like, it's part of the hardest parts of religion for me to understand, that God will punish you for doing wrong, but it's a nuance that I have to kind of accept, I guess.
Until now it doesn't mention punishment, huh?
It says torment.
Until now it doesn't. Really, I'm.
But for you, do you want adab?
No, I don't.
But whatever it is, it's negative.
But it doesn't mention it, because punishment is different.
Punishment is, if you do something wrong, you get something negative. So do you think that adab is something negative?
It is.
And do you think it's because they did something wrong?
But I think there is a slight difference. I like to be accurate.
I hear you. I for the difference, Mohab, in case you didn't know, is we talk about it's like the fire used to purify metal. That's the torment equivalent that she's saying. That it's kind of something is used to torment, to purify, to remove impurities, and that's Safa's understanding of what adab means. But anyway.
إذ تبرأ الذين اتبعوا من الذين اتبعوا ورأوا العذاب وتقطعت بهم الأسباب.
Okay, none of these words I'm familiar with.
And in this verse, it's related to the previous one, and it shows that it's not talking, in my understanding, it's not talking about other gods, but it's actually talking about other people. Because it says one day, which is the judgment day, those who were followed will...
How do you know it's the judgment day? What, because here it's implied. Here it just says, if or when you disown or let go those who followed from those who
followed them.
Followed?
So it's like the ones who were followed will say, we have nothing to do with the ones who followed us. That's what it means. So it's like the ones who were being followed, they said, we have nothing to do with the ones who followed us.
So the ones who were being followed disown the ones who followed them.
Yes.
And they will see the torment, and will be cut off for them.
The relations. So whatever the relations they had between them will be severed or will be cut off.
So here it's specifically saying that the ones who led you and you followed them into torment, once they take the torment, will disown you. We'll see, we don't know them. We're not responsible for them.
The day when this happens.
Yeah. So once they see torment, they'll say, yeah, we don't know those guys. We don't know why they followed us.
Yeah.
So be careful of following false idols, essentially, is what this is saying. Because they will drop you the minute that they realize that their jig is up.
Yeah, and for me, this shows that it's not talking about like
A person, a people, a book, a specific circumstance.
no, it can be talking about a person, but it's not talking about
Anyone.
statue. The statue. It's talking about people because the people who were being followed
Okay.
are saying we have nothing to do with the people who followed us. So I
Okay.
think that then it's talking about people mainly.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, yeah.
وقال الذين اتبعوا لو أن لنا كرة فنتبرأ منهم كما تبرأوا منا كذلك يريهم الله أعمالهم حسرات عليهم وما هم بخارجين من النار.
Okay, and now we talk about the followers.
Yeah.
And then those who said, those who followed said, if only that for us we have a return, kind of like a second chance, because we followed the wrong people, we would disown them as they have disowned us, and thus God will show them their deeds that they regret for themselves. And they are not coming out of hell. So essentially God's saying, there's no excuse. You can't just say, I followed somebody and he was the reason. As the age-old expression, your mom says, if your friends were to jump off the bridge, would you jump off after them? No, you have to think for yourself and not just follow people down the roads. You have to be your own person. You are responsible for your life. You cannot say that, oh, I was merely following. No, boo-boo. You're responsible. Fix your stuff or burn. Those are your options.
Yeah, I think this is a major problem in the world today.
Yeah.
That everyone is just following someone.
To be fair, like it's also in the Muslim culture worldwide. And this is also why so many people spout lies and abuse and torment and torture. And they're saying, oh, but that's what our leaders are telling us.
Yeah.
No, boo-boo. Pick up the book and revolt against your leaders. Do not
think for yourself.
Think for yourself. It's no excuse. It's your responsibility to figure it out. You have books, read. Everybody should be able to read. If you can't read, find somebody who can. If you want to find the answer, you will. If you want to make an excuse, you will.
Yeah, and honestly, people do horrible things, and they say we were just ordered to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Nazis.
also, you have the responsibility to do good and
better.
to judge for yourself what is good and what can be done and what shouldn't be done.
It's also why armies are very horrible because they expect you to not think but just obey.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
But it's not our problem. So.
يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين.
This is a bit of a scary one for me because I still sin sometimes, but here we go. Ya Yuha. Oh, okay. Ya Yuha is more like the people, the mankind. It's kind of like addressing them all.
Yeah, and here in this verse is different from the previous one because here it's talking to everyone, to mankind, not only to
the ones who
believers.
are followers or believers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mankind, eat from what the earth has made lawful for you. Halal is a term in religion. The two opposites are halal and haram. Halal is kind of like lawful, legal, but it's not with law. It's with religious law. It's like religiously good for you versus haram is forbidden by God. So it's lawful and good for you, and do not follow the footsteps of al-shaytan, which we know is the devil, that which asks you to sin, because he is to you an enemy that is very clear.
Yeah, and I think here also it's very interesting to think what exactly is the devil.
Yeah, it's a bit open, but there are going to be more examples later on in terms of what the devil asks you to do, what is lawful, what is not lawful according to the book, not according to people. Ignore everything that people say and just follow the book because people are wrong and fallible, but the book is holy and good.
Yeah, there are many interpretations for what is the devil. So, of course, we have the story about at the beginning Iblis, that he was a devil, like a real devil. But then there's another verse that says the devil's from humans and from jinn, shayateen al-jinn wal-ins.
Yeah.
That means that also, I think, in my opinion, also the devil can be, in some circumstances, it can be another human being, you know?
Yeah.
And then you're just following him. And in a sense, this can be applied as well. It doesn't have to be like a jinn or like another type of creature. It can be...
So it could be the devil al-shaitan within, or the devil and shaitan without, in somebody else, and that you're following them.
Yeah.
Because all humans and jinn have the capacity for good or evil, and if you're acting in evil, you are following in the footsteps of shaitan. Yeah.
Yeah.
إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون.
Continuing of the shaitan, who is the shaitan? He only commands you to do evil and the shameful, and you say that about God what you do not know.
Yeah, this is what I was referring to, that you say that God said something while actually you don't know, or you're just making a false claim.
Check episode 1 on my YouTube. There's a comment there where somebody's pretending that this is against God's will when it's not in the book. So they are literally saying something about God that is they do not know of, or that you do not know.
Yeah, so here it's referring this to the devil.
Yeah.
That the devil orders you to do bad things.
Yeah.
Al-fahsha is like indecency in a way.
So fahsha, something that brings shame.
Yeah.
Which is a very interesting topic, because in our society there's a lot of things that bring shame that I don't think necessarily are wrong. So, for instance, being homosexual is something that in the Middle Eastern society brings a lot of shame. But if you come to Western societies that are a bit more modernized, it doesn't bring shame.
But so now, I think...
To some extent, but as the world's evolving, it's changing a little bit better.
Yeah.
But so, like, the difference for me is just because you feel shame about something doesn't mean that it is shameful. That's the only distinction that I want to make. Just because your society doesn't understand it or accept it doesn't necessarily mean that this is what is being referred to in this book. So, for instance, I proudly proclaim that I'm a homosexual. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I'm speaking it. And if you want to judge me, then feel free to judge me. I'm not ashamed. It's your problem. I have no reason. I don't have to explain it to you. My peace with my God is good. If you don't like it, don't watch. But that doesn't mean that it is shameful. But I just want to say that, sin, evil, and what is shameful.
Yeah.
And the big things.
Yeah.
If I was to have sex in the street, that would be shameful.
Yes.
Even though I might not be ashamed, it's still imposing my sexuality on somebody else. Mm-hmm. To be gay and to do whatever I want to do behind closed doors or within the right settings and the right places, that makes sense. But to do it out on the streets, so this is where pride gets a little bit interesting, because sometimes pride crosses the line between public indecency and indecency, but this is a nuance that we don't need to discuss at the moment.
Yeah, this is, I think this is very relative, like you mentioned, to where you're living, the people who live around you, the society, how it looks at everything. So you find that some societies, people make everything shameful.
Yeah.
And other societies, people do everything allowed. So where is the measure of it? I think at the end of the day, what's right and wrong, or even in the Quran, it's very clear there are very obvious things, like what we're reading, but there are other things that are not mentioned, and that means that, okay, you can do it or not do it, then
that's a different thing.
Then it should not be a problem. But of course, we're just talking our minds. So we're not like
telling you what you have to believe. We're just telling you what we understand.
Yeah.
Cool.
وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون.
Continuation and making me feel great for reading the Quran. And when it is said to them, follow what has been revealed from God, they said, no, nay, we follow what we found from it, from our forefathers. And then you say, even though actually their forefathers were not understanding anything and not guided.
Yeah.
So this is speaking to y'all who say our society says that this is haram. This is talking to you specifically. Subhanallah, like as soon as the comment came, the ayat came out. MashaAllah, subhanallah. Your forefathers don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
These institutions don't know what they're talking about. The ones that deny women rights, that deny homosexual rights, that deny all this stuff without evidence in the Quran are all blind, leading the blind. Nothing do they know, do understand, and nothing, and they are not guided.
Yeah, and
They don't know
unfortunately nowadays, like most people who follow a certain religion, they follow more what their parents
say,
told them to do and how their parents raised them to be, and they actually know nothing about what was brought down from God, what is actually in the book. So yeah.
I of course want to keep this as a spicy response for Quran. I want to save this verse. Quran notes, favorite passages. Yeah, it gets into favorite passages. 2170. Cool. Which is kind of ironic because anyway, I've beaten the bush. Let's just continue. Let's move on.
ومثل الذين كفروا كمثل الذي ينعق بما لا يسمع إلا دعاء ونداء صم بكم عمي فهم لا يعقلون.
Now, you may not know this, but this is a burn, Susan. This is God making fun of you in a weird way. And an example of those who disbelieved, those ones that we were talking about, that listened to their forefathers instead of listening to the book, those who disbelieve are example is the one who shouts at what is...
It's like a flock, like ghanam, like a flock.
Yeah. Where is the flock? كمثل ينعق, it shouts?
Because this is the sound of...
The flock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shouts.
Yeah.
At what they...
At what they don't hear.
At what
they don't
hear.
understand.
Yeah, they just
Yeah, exactly.
Except for it's just random noises and calls and cries.
Yeah.
And they are, what are they? They are deaf, dumb, and blind. And they do not understand. So, sorry, boo-boo. My God said you're deaf, dumb, blind, and you know nothing. And you understand nothing. So, there.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم واشكروا لله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون.
Okay. Ya ayyuha alladhina, ya ayyuha, O ye. O ye makes a bit more sense. I think O ye, because it's also... Or does it? Yeah, it just ran out of power.
Yeah, it ran out of power, but we can plug it in.
We're still quite seen. We're visible.
Okay.
It's fine. We don't need the extra light.
Okay.
Ya ayyuha, O ye of those of you who believed, eat from the goodness of what was blessed or provided to you, and be grateful to God if you are
if you worship
Him alone. And here again, like. This is something, Mo, you said before, that these are commands from God, but essentially it's kind of, I think of it more as advice from God. Eat from the good things that God has provided to you and give thanks to God if you truly worship Him.
Yeah.
إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل به لغير الله فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم.
Okay, well, here comes the first difference. Well, not the first difference, but one of the differences between actually the Jewish faith and the Muslim faith share this perspective, but the Christian faith does not. So indeed, haram, again, that word of halal versus haram, lawful versus unlawful, but within the eyes of God. And this is now God telling you what is unlawful, what is forbidden. To you, the dead animals, so if an animal died by itself, you cannot eat it.
Yeah.
Its body or blood.
Slaughtered
with the name of God, but it'll be explained. So dead animals or the blood, you're not supposed to have the blood. And the flesh of swine, pigs, and what was dedicated to something other than God. So whoever is forced by necessity, they're without disobedience or without intent to disobey, like they were just forced, they only had this option, then there is no transgressor from them. So like if your hands are tied and you have no other option, okay, God forgives. As long as you're not doing it intentionally, you're okay. So then no sin will be put on them, because God is indeed oft forgiving and merciful. So don't eat the dead, don't eat blood, and don't eat swine. Pig is specifically mentioned.
Yeah.
And here is a bit of a distinction that I also kind of disagree with a general belief. So here the idea is, here it's saying that what was killed or dedicated with other than God. So in my opinion, what was killed in the name of something other than God, whereas some Muslims have taken it as that wasn't killed in the name of God. So I don't think
there is a difference.
I don't think that it has to be killed for God, but it has to not be killed for something else. It's not like you're killing it for another God, for another entity, for greed. If you're killing it for food, I think that kind of, it counts. I don't think that is not, because it's not for something other than to eat. Like if you're eating, you're kind of also feeding what God wants. So some people some Muslims, when they go to different countries, they only go to halal butchers for halal meat because the meat was killed in the name of God. But here it doesn't say this is the thing is other than, it's like a negative rather than a positive. It's not saying it has to be killed for God. It just says not killed for anything other than God. Like it's the negative, not the positive.
Yes.
Also, not eating pork in the Netherlands, I didn't realize how hard it was. Before I didn't care. This time, like I had a craving for like nasi goreng, which is like Indonesian. And you think Indonesian should be pretty halal and not have pork. Every single rice pasta thing from Indonesia has ham in it, and I'm like, what? Why do you put ham in everything? Like just small pieces of ham. I'm like, I just want pasta. I literally just want the pasta with the flavor. Like I don't. It's only difficult for those that don't believe very well. It's fine. I'll find a way. It's fine. And again, it ends with, if you did it out of necessity, without disobedience, then it's okay. Like if you're in a place where they only serve pork.
Yeah, so you're not gonna die.
Yeah, because you broke it.
Yeah.
You can survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزل الله من الكتاب ويشترون به ثمنا قليلا أولئك ما يأكلون في بطونهم إلا النار ولا يكلمهم الله يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم.
Actually, I forgot to mention something about the previous verse.
Sure.
Can we go back to it?
Yeah.
Because at a time, I think they really did prove that eating dead animals that were not slaughtered is actually not healthy.
No.
And at some point also they proved that pork has a specific bacteria or something like that can be harmful.
It's too close to human DNA. And therefore the diseases and things that affect the pork are more likely to affect our bodies. It's more unhealthy for you to eat pork than it is to eat other meat.
I think, And for the dead animals, I think because if they die without being slaughtered, then the blood
coagulates in a specific way.
Yes, which is not healthy if you eat it afterwards. But when the animal is slaughtered, then they
drain them of blood.
Then the blood goes out, and then you can eat it without having harmful.
Usually butchers hang animals, and the blood leaves the neck. If you do it in the most peaceful way, the most merciful way, all the blood leaves, and then it doesn't survive in the dead meat, and therefore it's actually better for you. So technically, all the things that God's suggesting are good for you, if only you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we read this, but we didn't kind of go over it. Indeed, those who conceal with what has been revealed or brought down from God, from the book, and they purchase with it a small price, a small reward. That is, a small reward. Those are the ones who eat. Those are from what they eat.
They only eat in their bellies fire.
Nothing except fire.
Yeah.
And
God doesn't speak to them.
God doesn't speak to them on the day of resurrection. Qiyamah is the resurrection when they come, also known as the day of judgment. وَلَا يُسْقِيهُمْ, and he will not purify them, and for them is the painful torment.
Yeah.
Again, it feels like a lot of repetition, but it's taking it into specific context. So you can take this as a general context to quote anyone who hides the gods, but also you can understand it in the specific context of eating, of what you're supposed to eat, of what you're not supposed to eat, and what you hide. Yeah.
So, and here again is what you mentioned in the previous verse, that it's not only about the Torah or the Bible or the Quran. It just mentioned the book, so it can be any of the 3 books. So those who
concealed, hide, does not share.
So those who conceal what God brought in the books for a small price. They know what is there, but they get something out of concealing it or distorting it. Then it says that they only eat in their bellies fire. And I think that this is a very interesting metaphor.
Yes.
Because also it
refers to the fire and the torment. It refers
to fire, like
hell, essentially.
Yeah. So here they say that they got a reward out of it. And all that they eat is actually fire.
Yeah.
So does it relate to the fire, which is hell? I don't know, but it's just interesting
I think in a weird way, it ties into the concept of whether hell and heaven are real places or hell and heaven are where you end up because you are tormenting yourself because you're entering sin. And if you lie, the more you lie, the worse your life gets. You get a small reward, but then things trickle down. People start recognizing that you're a problem. People start treating you different. You lose your jobs, whatever. There are a lot of negative consequences to sinning. And here they're saying that those who conceal are also inviting fire into they're not really gaining sustenance. Their bodies are gaining sustenance, but their souls are gaining fire.
Into their bellies, And then it says, and God does not speak to them on the resurrection day. And I think God doesn't speak to them. It's like, from being really angry with them, that he doesn't speak to them.
You say it's anger. For me, it's almost apathy. Like I said, with my stand-up comedy routine, it's going to be about, and it's going to come to my YouTube channel soon. Stick around, kids. God doesn't want to talk to you. You're not even worthy of God's time. He's like, this. There's a separation between who God considers the right and who God does not want to consider at all.
Yeah.
أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى والعذاب بالمغفرة فما أصبرهم على النار.
Interesting phrasing. Okay, continuing, those people who conceal, those are the ones that purchased or traded misguidance with guidance, like being led astray or being lost they gave up their guidance and they chose being led astray, and they gave up their forgiveness and they chose torment or punishment. And then here it says فَمَا أَصْبَرَهُمْ, and for what made them endure or wait for or like
They are
persist
very
in
enduring for
the
fire, which is also very interesting because it's very I didn't understand it at first.
For me, it's kind of like, why are you so hellbent? Essentially, it's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
It's God saying, why do you want torment? Why is this something that
And
you
in
want
a
to
way,
do?
it means that they are
They're patient
are
in their
very
torment.
patient in the fire. So
Yeah.
in a way, it's as if they know that they are
This
in
is
the
bad for them,
fire.
and they continue doing
Yeah.
it. The people that lie know that lying is bad for them, yet they continue to do it. And it's kind of like, why do you do the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Why
exactly,
do you not care? But why not just do the wrong thing, but persist on the wrong? Like, it's just, in my mind, if I wanted to sassify it, it'd be like God saying, "Boo boo, what you doing? Why? Why?" It's kind of like just to kind of like. Anyway, some people like torment. Some people like pain. They think they deserve it, and they follow. Okay. Sorry?
I thought you were looking at me for a second there.
Well, I can't see you. But
yeah, I know, but like that, you had that look where you're like, they like pain, and you stared into the camera.
Did I say
Like you're talking to
something?
me.
I didn't mention anything. It sounds like you might know what I'm talking about. Yes, that cough was for you. But yeah.
الله ليس البر ذلك بأن الله نزل الكتاب بالحق وإن الذين اختلفوا في الكتاب لفي شقاق بعيد.
It's gonna be talking about my whole life, but here we go. That's because God has brought down and revealed the book with the truth. And indeed, those who disagree or differ in the book are surely in a... It says shkijm. I've never heard the word shkijm before, but shqaq...
Disagreement.
Shqaq means to tear, to kind of pair. They're in a very far tear, and they're going to be arguing about it forever.
So this is going to be the bane of my life and my existence.
The book is very clear and says what it says. And people are going to disagree and argue until the book means this and the book means that, and I'm going to spend my whole life talking. You know what? I don't feel like it. I don't feel like arguing. I'm not going to chase them down. I'm just going to create my domain and ask you to come to me. If you don't want to come to me, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't feel like going to you. I don't feel like spreading it. Cool. But yeah, essentially, we're going to be schism. They're far schism. If you read the translation here, and those who differ are totally engrossed in opposition. You're going to be in opposition, I guess, for a long, very time. But I think that's kind of the point. The point is, people gonna argue because people argue. Okay. The last 11 ayat.
ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون.
Okay, this kind of repeats to something that was mentioned before, which was the disagreement about the direction of prayer.
Yeah.
And here it's kind of touching, it was said earlier in the surah, but here it says, it is not the righteousness, al-birr. This is kind of mentioned a lot. Al-birr, what does al-birr mean to you?
Goodness,
right? It's the righteousness, it's the correctness, it's the the correct virtue, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virtue is a good word for it, I think.
So it's not the virtue for those that turn their faces towards the east or the west. Here essentially means turn your face in any specific direction.
Yeah,
But
it's not about choosing a direction to turn your face to, mainly.
Yeah. But instead, the virtue or the righteousness is whoever believes in God and the final day and the angels and the book and the prophets and gives of their wealth in spite of his love for his wealth to those who are their near relatives or the orphans or the needy or the ones of wayfarers.
Ibn Sabil is like the people who are traveling and do not have the means, like do not have family, do not have the means. So
yes, people stuck in different countries, different locations. And those who ask, and those who are enslaved, and continuing. So he gives the money to all those people, or they establish prayer, or they give out zakah, which ironically, first it mentions giving your money to all your relatives, the poor, the needy, the ones who are traveling, the ones who are lost, or so to commit zakah, which is a specific fraction of your wealth every year is to be given. And those who fulfill their covenants.
And it mentions also part of the virtue are the people who meet their promises. I think muafuna ba'uhdihim means like if you make a promise to someone, you meet it.
It just means you're a man of their word. And when they make it.
So they meet their promise if they make a promise.
Meet their covenant if they make it. And those who are patient throughout the suffering and the hardships and the time of stress, then those are the ones who are true and those are the ones who are righteous. And again, here it's continuation from what was read before. It's not the direction that you pray, it's about your belief and what you do. Do good and believe. It's a two-part sentence. So belief is something that we all can work on. You don't always. I think the belief for me, at least the way that I understand it from the way the Quran is saying, is not that you have to believe your whole life, but essentially what you die believing. It's what you end up believing. And our whole lives, we have this kind of constant battle of should we believe, shouldn't we believe, is this good, is this right? So that's something that you work on. But the thing that you can definitely measure, here God is saying, do good, be kind, be wealthy, be generous, be do right. And
it's very significant that it mentions all these things. Like if you want to be virtuous, if you want to be good, it's not only about believing in God and in the last day, but it's also doing all these things, giving money to people who need it, meeting your promises, being truthful, being patient, and الصابرين في البأساء والضراء means like being patient in
suffering and hardship.
But I think البأساء والضراء means like more of like in poverty and sickness, or this is how it is mentioned in the interpretation, that these people who are patient when they are sick and when they are in
suffering and adversity,
severe poverty. So
وحين البأس. So here it says حين البأس, and the time of stress, but I guess here it's understood that they're in the heat of battle. But essentially, life is hard. And God is saying that, if you're able to be a good person throughout the hardships, that's who's good. That's
part of being good. So it's not only about praying or only about believing in a God or but it's all.
Which brings us to the whole point of the book. The whole point of the book is how to be a good person and how to reward from your behavior. Okay.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم.
Okay, here's introducing and talking about the law, and there's also a very distinct difference between Islam and Christianity in this. But let's read what it says
And
first.
Judaism as well. Yeah.
And I don't know what the laws of Judaism, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
O ye who believe in the book, what has been prescribed for you, the legal retribution in the murder of
For murder.
for the
For
murdered.
Yeah.
The retribution for murder is the free man for the free man, the slave for the slave, the female for the female, which kind of means an eye for an eye. But whoever is pardoned for it from his brother, anything that follows up will be suitable, and payment is to him is with kindness, because that is a concession from your Lord, and a mercy from whoever transgresses after, and a mercy, whoever transgresses after that, then for him is a punishment that is painful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I read is that in Judaism it was an eye for an eye, and there was no way to do it another way. So
Yeah.
whoever does something, it has to be like
Exactly what-
eye for an eye.
Yeah.
And then in Christianity, it comes like if someone slaps you on the face, then give him your other cheek or whatever it
Yeah.
is. So it was completely
The opposite.
complete opposite. But here in this verse, it's like
Combines both.
it combines both,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like it says that it can be that, and actually here it mentions a slave for a slave and a female for a female, but also we need to consider that the time where this was brought
produced.
down, it
Yeah.
was like
These were
in
the
tribes and battles, and then they it was a completely different circumstances than today. And I think this is when a tribe goes to another tribe, and then they kill people. And at that time what used to happen is that if they kill a woman, for example, then in retribution the other tribe goes and kills many people, or kills the head of the tribe or something. So they also exaggerate in the killing. So in a way it does make it more equal.
Yeah.
And then it gives also another option, is that if
the offender.
you are pardoned, that there is an option for the victim to pardon the one who did that.
Yeah. So if you killed someone of theirs, instead of them killing someone of yours, you can be pardoned.
Yeah. And it mentions here from his brother. So I think also this is very significant, that it mentions like at the end you're brothers, and you shouldn't be like
Even in death, even if they killed someone
even
of your
if they
family,
kill, that you
they are
should,
your brother.
Yeah, that you should forgive at the end of the day. And if and it puts a system of paying instead of having this
Then there's
sauce.
so you're forgiving them, but they give you some sort of
They can give you a compensation for it.
Correct.
They can give you a compensation, and this compensation then needs to be followed up in a good way.
in a legitimate way.
And the one who did the offense should do it, and also in a good way.
Yeah.
And this is like تخفيفاً ربكم, is like God wants to make things lighter, easier for you, and mercy also.
Yeah, and a mercy from your Lord. So you don't have to take
And
an eye
mercy
for an
from
eye. You
your
don't have to
Lord.
take a
Yeah.
body for a body. You can take it in other compensation, and they have to abide by it because it's a mercy. However, whoever transgresses after that, then for him is the torment that is painful.
Yeah, and I think the way I understood it is that if you let him go, like someone went and killed someone, and then the victim's family said, okay, we will take a compensation, and we don't want to have like the eye for an eye concept. And then this person again commits another offense.
Yeah.
So then in this case, then he will face like a very large
And painful
torment.
from God.
Yeah.
Which I find,
So,
yeah,
sorry, so this is referring to like murder, right? Not like
Yes.
not wars or anything.
in a way, it does refer to war because war is mass murder.
Yeah, what I
Well, yeah,
read
but-
in one
but
of the interpretation,
Also to murder, if we're gonna take it on a
Yeah, to a
individual
single
Yeah,
murder.
sure.
Yeah,
So what would a free man for a free man mean? A slave for a slave. So for example, if I kill a woman, will they kill my woman or will they kill me?
Essentially, it's saying if you kill their woman, they should kill your woman. It's saying the equivalent of the equivalent. Whatever the crime. So if they killed your brother, you should kill their brother. If you kill their sister, they should kill your sister. Or something equivalent.
I don't think this is
what's
the
the poor
meaning.
brother or sister's fault in this?
I don't think this is the meaning. I think the meaning here is like, of course, if someone kills someone, then you will punish the person who murders. Like, it's not like you're gonna punish a woman for.
That's understandable, like from common sense. But like, what does a free man for a free man, a slave for a slave?
I think what I read is that this is more referring to wars. Because what used to happen at that time is that there is a tribe, there are like two tribes, and then a tribe is killing from another tribe. And then there were like the slaves, and there are the free people who are leading the tribe, and there are the women, and each had like a role in the war. So what used to happen is that when one tribe goes and attacks a tribe, then they kill, for example, a woman and two slaves, and I don't know, and then the other tribe goes and escalates or kills like more people or kills like the leader of the tribe or so. I don't think it's here related to like one murder of one person, because in that case it's very clear, like if someone kills someone, then this person is the one who's should be punished.
Strongly disagree with you. The book is very clear. A free man for a free man, a slave for a slave. They are telling you literally an eye for an eye, and this is the Jewish culture as well. Whatever they do to you, you do to them, and it's the equivalent. If they in Jordan, one second to continue the example. In Jordan, it's called tar. In tar,
yes, exactly. It refers to tar
exactly.
concept.
So if from your family a woman was killed, from their family a woman needs to be killed. That is what an eye for an eye means. Literally, God is saying if they've killed a woman, you have every right to kill a woman of theirs. But if you forgive them, it's better for everybody, and there's a way they're going to come.
But this is not about the normal situations, like for
this is
someone.
About death. This is about murder.
But this is about the tribal.
It doesn't say that.
This is a tribal society.
It just says fil qatla, in the matter of murder. It is written in the book. If someone kills, you take the free man for the free man, the slave for the slave, the female for the female.
Yeah,
the book is very clear.
We had the tar also in Egypt until like very recently. It was in all the Arab societies. I think that
it still is in Jordan.
They used to do tar, and they used to do it in a very unjust way as well. In the sense that they kill more people, or like they kill, for example, the head of this tribe who is working and who's feeding like I don't know how many people. So they try to exaggerate. So I think what it means here that just be more of an eye to an eye. Don't try to exaggerate.
It's literally saying
2 points here.
Body to body. Yes, Mahab.
So one is rhetorical. So if I want to get rid of my wife, I'll go kill your wife, so that you killed my wife. I'll be like, yep, they killed my wife. I didn't do it.
If you're gonna kill someone and you want your wife to die, just kill your own wife.
Yeah.
That's the worst roundabout way to kill your wife. If you're gonna kill someone, literally just kill your wife. Stop wasting time. Don't use this law to kill your wife through somebody else.
So if I kill my wife, who will and I have no mother, sister, what will happen to me?
She has a family.
Yeah, but her family, who are they going to kill from my family if not me?
A female.
If I'm a lone person.
A female.
I don't have a female.
مش أنت, your family.
My family's all dead.
Yeah, طيب, then in that case, I would imagine that it means your life, to be honest.
Which would make sense from the beginning. And also,
here it's saying.
I don't think this is to be taken literally, a female for a female.
No, me neither.
The point of the three is it's just saying equal value for equal value.
Yeah, because of the way it was being done at that time.
Value of a human life, value financially.
Value of a human life.
Of how much people love you.
Value of a human life. Here it is comparing human with human, human with human, human with human, and as much as possible, the same level of human, the same type of human, the same whether it's a slave, whether it's a person, a free
Yeah.
person, or
And
a wife.
to be honest, in my opinion, that doesn't apply to the society we are living in now.
Today.
That's my second point, Safa, is that this might have applied when like tribes lived
Yeah.
together.
Sure.
And there was a tribe living here and a tribe living here, but we no longer live in tribes. We live
Yeah.
in small families of 4 max. Like my parents are in America, my other brothers in Dubai, my other brothers' families in Australia. Like, what are they? They're gonna go travel and kill them? Yeah, it doesn't
No,
work. Like,
no,
as
no,
a
no, no.
tribe
That
setting
that
anymore.
doesn't apply, and this is why also, what I read is that some people say that this came for at a specific time, but at a different passage in the Quran, in a different surah. It says وَكُتِبَ عَلَيْهُمْ فِيهَا إِنَّ النَّفْسِ بِالنَّفْسِ. So it comes in another place that actually a soul for a soul,
yeah.
which is more of if you kill a soul, then the person who killed it should be punished for it. So it
Which
comes
makes
at two
sense.
different
points. But the point is,
yeah.
it talks about the eye for an eye, and it talks about forgiveness. So here it creates a law, or teaches you how to retaliate within the realm of religious law. But I don't think necessarily we should take this and apply this to human law. And I think we as humans can create laws that are separate from this, that make more sense to us, which essentially is don't kill. And even though it says
Yeah.
here the death penalty, for instance, in Texas makes sense, I, as a modern day human, would want to add a law beyond that and say, no, we don't accept that we don't accept that a life for a life, and we can take it past it.
No, and actually, I think that this is better than the death penalty in the sense that it says, if I am the family of the victim and I say I forgive and I don't want
Yeah. Then ask
his
for
life in
compensation.
return, then that's it.
But ask for compensation of an equal
But ask for
amount.
compensation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think this is better than the death penalty that's applied everywhere now.
And again, it's that advice versus negation. Here it's saying, God saying you can take retribution in terms of a life,
Yeah.
but you don't have to. Doesn't mean you have to. And
Yeah.
here you're given other options. And as we evolve, we should
Yeah.
head towards the more forgiving, more Jesus-like nature of
Yes,
the
and
world.
if you forgive, and then it says that this is actually
A mercy from your Lord.
mercy from God,
Yeah.
that He's giving you this. So this is the the better path, let's say, than having the eye for an eye.
Okay. Spicy.
Yeah.
ولكم في القصاص حياة يا أولي الألباب لعلكم تتقون.
Again, words I haven't heard in ever. Walakum, and for you in legal retribution of life.
Life. So you will find life in retribution.
Ya ula.
So that means basically like why there is this law that if someone is killed, it's either you kill someone is killed in return, or there is a payment for what has happened. This is the retribution law that was referred to in the previous verse. And here it says, so this retribution, because this will give you life. Like there is life for you in the retribution. And I think what it means, like if people know that there is this law that murder will not go unpunished, then this will prevent it from happening.
Okay. Yeah. So don't kill because the threat is there, and because you know the threat is there, it will actually promote more life.
Exactly.
That's the point of it.
Yes.
And because it's wrong.
Sure, but like here it's telling you the point of it is life. وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ, and in for you in the legal retribution is life. Life is...
What I find interesting, I don't know if it will come later. I'm very interested to see what follows in these ayat. But it's here, it doesn't mention that killing someone is a sin and you will end up, in a punishment of
we'll get to killing someone.
Hell or fire. Maybe it will, I'm not sure.
We'll get to it, I think, at a different point. I don't think it's mentioned in these ones, but it might be. Anyway, continuing. Ya ula omen al-albab. This is a new one.
Al-albab is like the minds, I think.
No.
People of minds, or people who think.
Yeah.
Like,
so that you may be righteous. This is the security of life for you, and the law of retaliation, O people of reason, so that you become mindful of Allah. And here it's kind of just, to like not kill so that you're mindful of God, so to speak.
كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين.
Okay, here it's talking about the dead. It was prescribed or written for you that when one of you approaches death, that they leave good and their will to their parents, للوالدين, and to their relatives with due fairness, and a duty is on those who are righteous. And they don't exactly get into it in this book, but they do talk about inheritance in the next ayah, next surah, or the one after it, within the next ones, chapter 3 or 4. I think chapter 4.
They speak about it in more detail. So here it just mentions that when someone is approaching death, they should leave a will to the relatives and the parents.
Relatives, parents, in fairness.
Yeah.
فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه إن الله سميع عليم.
And this continues more. And whoever changes it after he has heard it, then he only does it in sin. For on those who would alter it, because God is all hearing and all knowing. So essentially, they're saying whoever changes the will that was mentioned after they heard it, the blame will only be on the person who made the change.
Yeah.
Indeed, God is all hearing, all knowing. So don't change the wills. Don't lie. God knows.
من خاف من موص جنفا أو إثما فأصلح بينهم فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم.
Which I find it kind of poetic. It sounds very poetic, at least. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
And so whoever fears that from them, from the testers, or an error from the
person who's leaving a will.
Yeah, and whoever thinks that there's an error in the person who's leaving a will, or there's sin in it, that there's a lie, there's misguidance, there's whatever, and he reconciles between them, so there is no sin for him, because indeed God is oft forgiving and all merciful. And I guess here, it kind of opens the door for something a bit interesting, because it also opens the door for people to say, no, I doubt, when they don't believe that they doubt, but that falls within the previous statement of someone who's changing the will after he hears it.
Yeah.
But if you have genuine doubt, and if you suspect that there's something serious, some serious foul play is coming on, and you do make a change, then it's not necessarily the sin comes on you, because God is oft forgiving and all merciful. So you have to just try and be just, and just try and be fair as much as possible, even if you doubt that what has been said. What?
So with regards to the will, as you and I and Safa and many people know, the Quran will then specify how the will should be distributed, or how the assets of money should be distributed.
Correct.
Amongst the family.
Yes.
So why would the person that's approaching death need to write a will? Like, will that will override the instructions that are written in the Quran about how assets and money is distributed?
What I know, or what is done in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, is that the will is divided according to what's mentioned in the Quran if you don't leave any instructions. But if someone leaves specific instructions, like, for example, I want to give this car to my girl, then this is apart from everything else.
Yeah.
That's my understanding, and not in a religious way, but in a societal way. This is the way it's done in Egypt. So, people leave specific things to specific kids or to specific family members, or something that has a particular meaning to someone, so I'm leaving it to them. And then apart from that, then they divide according to what's mentioned in the Quran.
So 2 things. One, very good question, Mahab. I'm very curious, and I do think that your opinion is correct, Safa. That's my personal opinion as well. That if you don't write a specific will, there is a way to break it down without the will.
Yeah.
However, the will should supersede it, and I would like to defer
the will supersedes it.
I would like to defer that conclusion until we reach that part in the Quran. Because let's read the specific phrasing, and maybe we'll understand it better as we get to it. Let's wait till it comes up.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Actually, when this comes out, this is probably episode 5, maybe. It's going to come out during Ramadan, which is in a couple of weeks for us, because it's the 29th of February now, but obviously we release a few weeks later, so there's a bit of a buffer. Okay, what does it say? O ye of those of you who believe in the book, what was prescribed for you, what was written for you. Fasting. Was prescribed for you to fast. Fasting was prescribed for you, as it was prescribed or written for those who came before you, so that you may become righteous. And there is a form of fasting in Christianity, and there's a form of fasting in Judaism. There are slight nuances and slight differences. People don't really participate in Lent in Christianity unless you're like super Catholic, but like most people don't do it. But whereas Muslims who really believe, they all commit to Siyam. The ones that don't believe obviously do whatever the hell they want anyway.
So
fasting
but
is,
here it says it is prescribed for you, like it was on the people before you, exactly for the reason you mentioned, because it already existed. Like
it's not something new.
It's not new.
And fasting is not something general. There will be more explanations about what fasting is. Here's a continuation of it.
أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Okay, here's to continue explaining. And it's Shahr Ramadan. The next passage explains what fasting is. So let's start with what is fasting. Fasting is only for ayaman, means days that are numbered. So whoever is of you that is sick or that is traveling, so the prescribed
they can fast on other days.
The prescription is from other days that are other than this one. So essentially it's to make it up on another day. And for those of you who can afford it, a ransom of food for the poor. So essentially, if you can't fast because of health conditions, or you can't, like if you're anemic or something and you need food, then there's a way to kind of overcome that. So then for what you can afford, give a ransom for feeding the poor, and whoever volunteers for good, then it's better for him. And to fast is better for you if only you knew. And this is kind of like, science is also proving it. You're kind of seeing the benefits of it. All of a sudden, everybody's coming up with the word of intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is fasting for about 16 hours a day or 14 hours a day, which is roughly what God is asking for you. And all of a sudden it's like, everyone's telling you that this is going to help you lose weight and get better blood flow and get better energy. And you're like, wow, okay, so this is actually just the process of fasting is literally just good for you. Even if you don't believe in anything else, it's good for you. But don't do it for a long time, only do it for a certain number of days. Okay, and the month of Ramadan, which when this comes out.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون.
By the way, I've decided that the repetition that is unnecessary annoys me. It frustrates me. I don't know who told them to repeat it, but for me, it's disrespecting the way that the Quran was written.
What do you mean? What repetition?
Sometimes he repeats throughout, like he takes...
in the reciting.
In the reciting. It
I
annoys
I
me.
think there's a specific reason for that, is because just like in English, for example, when you stop, if you're reading a sentence and you stop in a certain place and then you continue, that might change the meaning of the sentence.
Which is
So
where
you'd have to
this is
go
why I
back
have
a
a
little bit
huge problem with it. Because the Quran does repeat, and the Quran repeats when it's supposed to repeat. I despise that there's a human that said you have to repeat this part and that they follow it. It frustrates me to no end. But that's my own personal gripe. Let's not make this about that.
I don't know why they repeat it when.
Yeah. We'll get into that at a different discussion. I don't feel like dissecting it. I've just decided that I hate it.
Yeah, but I think Mohab is right. It's about the way you
I understand it's, but
and
it's not.
And because of the way they recite it, so they need to stop here and then they need to.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I can read it without the repetition. Everyone can read it without the repetition, and it was written without repetition.
Yeah, when you read it normally, you will not. It will be without repetition.
Yeah,
of course.
But it's just a personal gripe that I don't like. But anyway, I've thought about it and I hate it. Anyway, so in the previous verse it says a few days, and now here it explains which are those days. So those days are for the month of Ramadan, and if you understand that the Arabic calendar is not the Gregorian calendar, so the Gregorian calendar is obviously January, February, March, blah, blah, blah. The Arabic calendar is a lunar calendar, similar to the Chinese calendar. The Chinese also follow a lunar calendar, because that's why they have the Chinese New Year that changes every year. The Islamic New Year is also following a lunar calendar, and the month of Ramadan is observed by the moon, and that's why the first day of Ramadan is sometimes a difference between a day or two, because it depends on whether you can see the new moon or you can't see the new moon. Of course, science has kind of come a little bit further, but we'll explain that a bit later. But the days that were mentioned were the month of Ramadan, which follow an Arabian calendar if you want to. That was revealed in the Quran, which again here it's saying that the Quran was brought down in unzil. I don't think reveal. I don't like the word reveal. Unzil means was brought down.
Yeah.
That the Quran was brought down in it as a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and the criterion, how to tell the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
So whoever witnesses, and witnesses isn't the right word, whoever performs of you the month, whoever witnesses the month, whoever knows the month is coming, so then he should fast in it. And whoever was sick, again, it's a repetition of the Quran repeats when it needs to repeat. Whoever was sick or whoever was traveling, so then the prescribed number should be made up of a certain days that are other, and God intends for you to make it easy and doesn't want you to actually be in times of hardships, so that you complete the prescribed period and so that you magnify God ala ma hadakum, for what he has guided you, so that you may be thankful. Again, everything that you do is kind of in service of the Lord, but also understanding that it's for you in the end of the day, and God's teaching you and guiding you that this is all.
Yeah.
And God doesn't wants you to have an easy life and doesn't want you to have hardship, even though he's asking of you something that is quite difficult, such as not eating or drinking all day long. It's theoretically hard, but realistically, it's actually making your lives easier. It's making you closer to God. It's making you more humble. It's making you more approachable. There's so many rewards to it. And the point isn't to be suffering. The point is to ease your hardship. If only you knew, and if only you were grateful.
Yeah.
Last three verses.
وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون.
Okay, again, God referring to themselves in the first person. And when was asked to you, I think here it's talking to the prophet. When my servants ask you about me, so tell them, indeed, I am near.
It's very significant here, in my opinion. It's very powerful that it doesn't mention tell them. So the way it's written is like, and if my servants ask you about me, I am close. So it doesn't even say tell them that I'm close. It's just as if he's speaking to us. I'm close.
Yeah. If anyone asks about God, know that God is close. I respond to the invocation, dua al-da'i, to the person who the prayer of the prayer of the prayee. If when he calls me, so let them respond.
Let them respond to me and believe in me, and so that they may be guided
to the right place. Let them respond with obedience. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا. I don't quite understand فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا.
لا يستجيبوا ليه, it means like let them be also like so they believe in me and they respond to what I'm saying, like they follow me or they
I think the context here is the idea of like, should I do good? How do I know when God sees and when God knows? And the idea here is that God is all around us and God is with us and that God is always near. Obviously, this also takes kind of the concept of that we are all created in God's image and we are, in essence, God's spirit that is bringing us to life. Yeah, it's just saying that we're close. So just respond and follow me.
I think it's another verse in Quran where it says وَنَفَخْتَ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, and that means like when Adam was created, he was created from God's spirit.
Yeah. But anyway, God is all around us, so that you should obey or you should listen to him, and if they believe, then so that they may be guided to the right way. Okay, the next one is, let's do. All right, big ayat.
أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله آياته للناس لعلهم يتقون.
Okay. A lot of details about fasting. أحل عليكم, halal, again, halal, haram, halal, legal, permitted, religiously allowed for you. The nights of fasting, to approach your wives, for their on libas, for they are, here it says they're like clothing for you, but I think it's like they are suited for you. Suited, I think, makes more sense to me, for you, and you are suited for them, because God knows that you used to deceive yourselves. Yourselves. So he turned for you, or he forgave you, and he turned for you and he forgave you. So now you have relations with them, and you seek from what was written by God for you, and eat and drink until it becomes distinct for you the thread of white from the thread of darkness. So here again, it's saying at the moment you're allowed to be with your wives, and you're allowed to eat, and you're allowed to do what you need until you can tell the difference between a white string and a black string. Essentially, it's saying at the time of dawn.
Yeah.
So the sunrise, when you can tell the difference between a white string and a dark string, that's when you should stop eating, and that's when you should start beginning the fast, complete the fast until night, and do not have relations with them while you are secluded in the masajid, in the mosques, because these are the limits that God has. So do not approach them.
Yeah.
Thus, it makes it clear for God His verses to the people, if only they were righteous or mindful. I like the word mindful. But essentially here God's saying, during the nighttime, you can be with your wives, you can eat, you can do what you need to do. He doesn't say eat, but I think that's understood.
Yeah, during the night you can eat. You only don't eat during the...
But does he say eat?
Not in this verse.
Here he's just talking about being with your wives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون.
Okay, this confuses, and this is the last one that we have, and this confuses me to no end.
Yeah.
It says, do not eat your amwalakum means your assets, let's say, your assets, your money. Your money is what comes to mind. I don't know why it says properties.
Yeah.
Amongst yourselves wrongfully, and present with it to your authorities so that you may eat a portion of the wealth of the people with sinfully or wrongfully, and do not consume one another's wealth.
I have to look at this one because I didn't. I stopped at the previous verse actually.
Okay.
But I think it has to do with riba.
Which is not profit but interest.
I think so. It's not interest. It's not the normal interest. I think it had something to do with.
I don't understand this.
But we can. We can keep it to next time.
Till next time, we'll pick it up, and that's fine. Well, that's it, boys and girls. Thanks, boys and girls and others. Thanks for joining. And as usual, we end every session with saying, "Sadaq Allahu al-Ali al-Azim." Thank you all for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.